Hello everyone, this is the teaser video for this coming Sunday, December 17th. It'll be the third Sunday of Advent, and so obviously we are getting closer to Christmas every day. It's probably sneaking up on you. We've already looked on the first two Sundays of Advent. We looked at John the Baptist from the passage in Mark verses 1 through 8, chapter 1 verses 1 through 8, and then we looked at from John chapter 1 verses 19 through 28. And we kind of looked at how the first one, Mark talking to the Gentiles in Rome, and how he was talking about John the Baptist as a herald, because that's what the people in Rome would expect. In John, we're actually talking, we know that it's written for the Jewish people, because it's talking about the Levites, Pharisees, and how the religious leaders came out and tested who John the Baptist was, which is kind of what they were supposed to do as protectors of the faith, and seeing John the Baptist and his answers. So that's kind of what we looked at for the first two. This week, we're going to look at with the idea of stories that are hard to believe. And you might have known someone who you find that their story is hard to believe. Sometimes we call them fish tales, but they just continue to get exaggerated the more the story is getting told. So maybe that's something that you find hard to believe. Or maybe it's the person telling the story, and you know this person who's telling the story may not be the most reliable, so you may not believe the stories they say. You find them hard to believe, or stuff like that. So we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 1 verses 26 to 38. Luke chapter 1 verses 26 to 38. And what I want to do for the teaser video, for what I want you to challenge you, is read those passages. And is this story hard for you to believe? If it is, why is it hard to believe? If it's not, why do you believe it? I guess that's really the challenge. Is there anything in this passage that would make this story something that you would truly believe? I mean, it is a story about the virgin birth. It's talking about the angel Gabriel coming and visiting Mary. And this is obviously something the world struggles to believe in. The whole idea of the virgin birth, the whole idea of Jesus, Mary, Joseph, that whole concept, that whole story, a lot of people think it's a fairy tale. And as believers, are we just blindly following a fairy tale? Or is there's reasons why we do believe it or don't believe it? Some of it might have to do with the author. This is obviously from the Gospel of Luke, Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38. Is it some words in here that would make you believe it? So really, I want you to be able to determine, especially if you're in my Sunday school class, reading this passage, do you believe it? I mean, or do you don't believe it? Do you see it as a fairy tale, or do you see it as factual information? And be able to support why you believe it one way or the other. Is there key phrases that make it stand out? If it, or what? Because really, it's something we have to be able to explain. People are going to want to know, why do you believe it? Why don't you believe it? If you don't believe it, you would go along with most of the people in the world, but you believe in God, and because you believe in God, you believe in His Word, and so maybe you're blindly believing every story in there. Or is there something in there in the way the passage is written that makes you want to believe and makes you have faith on that it actually happened as fact, and it's not just some fantasy story that to explain the birth of Jesus? That's what I want you to look into, dig into. We'll talk about it on Sunday. Until then, take care and be safe.